Good morning. I would like to remind you of Bodhisattva, and you know how to generate, so I don't need to explain. 대과천 보면 가담 레고는 보시에 자기 창조 선반의 불청와 시작과 소소 대가교도 보디사도 많이 아와게 되게도 창조 선반의 불청와 투지 정보를 찾아서 남만은 찾아서 대배다 찾아서 태송 탐지에 방사시 누가는데 계속 이모들로 라고 따뜻 좀 배워서 제가 시신 바이오의 원배고는 구도서 인생 교수 양반의 선비비가 따고 나게 녀바 다시 신지주가 전에서 나게 연대 맞아 신진연대 따고 니다 구디 방사시 캐라도 공원 내가 충분히 조시 제가 지금 소화자 잠단 인지 공사시 장주성의 때문에 내기 충분히 방사시 따로 되다 때문에 초랑 아주 성적이 멤버스는 때문에 뭐가 초보 방사시 최저소요 소화자 상승 탐지 방사시 파변로지 장발 루지통의 방사시 고만나는 내버서 차가 지용 방사시 다동안의 동바시 라마 큰 통해서 교회름으로 제거자 강사 최지 미신 당 대상보에 선행对面도시 제거자 선비 탐지 통해서 파만 부신 도시제 비교 조보 방사시 계획심이 예버자 당당 미기 시스템에 강도대원 로가서 강한 차보 방사시 차원면은 내버자 차별 대로 안에 도지 타베소서 저버시 강도 대외 최동화 대로다고 내버자 통만 잡아 강인과 강불팀이 접사돼 대단한 군리지 현도니가 루미유 다도 비가 가차를 강도 토베 sem총세 대생마저 짜서신 라멘동마 참벌사 준비천나 좀 준비천에 중요해서 생기습니다 되버사 니가 동번니도 몸 강도 차동 유종세 유마주와 신도다 민이 지금 퇴배서 자자신도 따와서 류란 너가 중요해서 문제에서 따와자 All right, now next. 외대 gomba ran내신 Rida siwe roshin dagi dangi bachashin chabameba never cha. Okay, now explanation is 3 days ago I did explain there are two. One meditation and the other one is the post-meditation. To me, this is case by case. To me, it's more practical that if somebody go out and deal with the situations and work with the situations and accept the situations as they are, and then you are able to be progress your practice, and you will know how much the improvement that you have made in your practice. But some cases, if you failed to do this, or if you really still face very difficult to accept things as they are, then the suggestion is go to retreat. Yes. This is a not good choice, but this is the choicelessly you have to choose. And the purpose of hiding in retreat is that you are so scared with the distractions. But that's the only purpose, that you are trying to escape or run away from the powerful distraction. You feel much relaxed, and that you can bring mind into the focus. And you experience in the retreat that you can develop the further and further your practice. So therefore, as the Gampopa said, or Le Gampopa, the beginners, if you fail to fight directly with the distraction, then the next choice is then escape, run away from the distraction. Mm-hmm. And just a Tome Sangye, in the 37 practice of the Bodhisattva, when he explains about the benefit of the retreat, or solitary retreat, he says, once you give up the negative object, which is the distraction, the benefit from there, what you can receive or gain is decline the disturbing emotion. Because in our lives, the most of the time, or most of the cases, these powerful, the disturbing emotional forces arise from the object. The pleasant things, then the desire arise. Unpleasant object, meeting this unpleasant object, then like sort of anger or something like unpleasant emotion arises. So all the emotion caused by the objects. So therefore, if you keep distance, the so-called union means that the negative object, then gradually you can experience the emotional forces will be declined. Then once you being away from the object that causes you the restless your mind, then then no more distraction. Right? No more distraction in the retreat, in the solitary retreat. So when you are able to reduce the distraction or feeling of the distraction, then the practice or the virtuous action will be developed. Then you can experience the clear aspect of the mind, awareness. So clear, because the mind is totally free from the distraction, and you can experience the totally clear of your mind, and to become clearer and clearer. Then there you can the firmly rooted the certainty of the mind. Then you can your mind can completely enter into Dhamma practice. So we must remember these three qualities. The number one is they reject the negative object. Number two, and then avoid the destruction. And then number three, because of these two, then one can enter into the genuine Dhamma. This is just example, not so important. So you're not necessary to be like a dead body, but it's just giving example like in a long time back, like in Himalaya or in Tibet, there's not much people care for the dead body of the deers or animals in the forest, or then hardly find in the dens of the forest. So likewise, it means that you hide yourself because you are so scared to touch the mundane world, because this causes the mind restless. Therefore, abide independent, free from the destructions. All the practices in the Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayana, the methods, the skills for the purpose of the decline our clinging and the grasping or holding tightly to any objects that cause you desires or anger, these the forces of the emotions. So therefore, all the methods, all the practices in those teachings are all for decline or to dispel our strong clinging. That's why many of practitioners, sometimes they make mistake in the concept of the practice of Vajrayana. They think that we should accept the things like the emotions, like as a really emotion, where you practice or you apply things. So this is a very the mistake, big mistake in the practice. In the Vajrayana, all the methods, the practices there, or meditation or technique, whatever they are, is for transform, because they realize the negative emotional forces are no other than our true nature of mind. So they realize. So when these forces arise, by the skillful means, they bring it into the Dhammadhatu, or back to our true nature of mind. So that is the power of the transformation. It's not that we accept the desire as it is. It doesn't mean that we accept the anger as it is in the characteristic of the emotional itself, but rather because we realize these are no other than the true nature of our mind in the sense of the Dhammadhatu. So therefore transformation comes. Doesn't mean that, we practice so we can accept everything like that. So any practice we do, it's very important to change our minds from our habitual ways to move towards the virtuous ones. Why we always fail to apply the Dhamma practice accordingly? Because you see that our habitual tendency is so deep and so profound, and we so much get used to with it. It's so difficult to work with that. If you do not apply the remedies and the practices constantly, 1 month, 1 year, if you feel, that's too long, I did 1 year practice, it's very short, because the habitual tendency is there from the beginningless of the time. No matter which rhythm you are, but the habitual tendency is there. We are so used to with these, the disturbing conception, right? So therefore, in order to make it separate from you, because the negative or disturbing the concept, the conception is not our nature. It's not our nature, but difficult to make it separate because we too much used with it. So therefore, making separate these two, my true nature, and this is so-called the temporary, the disturbing conception, making separate is rather difficult unless you apply those powerful remedies, the powerful methods. And then another consideration that you need to pay attention is simply abiding in the retreat or remaining in the retreat is not enough, is not sufficient. In the retreat, you need to examine your mental attitude. That is your prime responsibility in the retreat. Shantideva says, sometimes if you misuse the Dhamma in the retreat, then instead of declining your negative forces, it may increase, right? So the location, the place of the retreat is not important. And the number of months, the years you are in the retreat is also not so important. If you are in the retreat, in a short period of time, if you really be so attentive with your practice and examine your each and every single attitude of the mind, body, speech, then the day by day, you can make a big changes. So if you are able to make big changes, then in short period of time of the retreat, you can gain a tremendous benefit. So when you come out of the retreat, then you can give good example to others, encourage people go to retreat. Because like me, you say like that. So otherwise, when you go inside the retreat, same. Come out, same. Maybe more, little bit. So therefore, every second, every hour, to check, to examine our attitude, mental attitude, motivation, are very important. And like this time or any other time, you are like in the teaching or in the teaching ceremony or the Dhamma activity in the mandala or in the ceremony. So while you are in the teaching, of course, each and every time you hear this kind of precious teachings, and you may think or you may feel, yes, I need to make a change, and I have to make change, and I have to really be so serious with my practice. But problem is when we walk outside, after the teaching, or after the practice, after the session, then if you fail to walk with your emotion, walk with these discursive thoughts, walk with the daily life, and you fail to apply these teachings which you have been received already, but fail to apply. So this takes longer, and delaying your practices. And then you can't see the benefit from your practice. Then the laziness starts. Then you might think, oh, no use practice. I have spent like 20 years, 30 years I have been practiced, but not much benefit. So you feel discouraging, you know. So these things, to avoid such negative circumstances, one should be so attentive. Everyday life, that's what I said a few days back. If you do that, so that is the everyday retreat. Best is that choice. Then you can, there's not much burden that you experience that, oh, I have a family, I have a job, I have no time to do retreat. But instead of that, why don't you apply the everyday retreat? It's simple. It's just for you to pay just attention. It's so simple. Tado idam tencha sing, lelo yonle sim jung tse, tese dala ngendang sing, tushu hingbo chamber cha. Tado idam tencha sing. Okay. During Dhamma practice, the certainty of your mind is very important, because sometimes you don't have enough certainty, or maybe parents influence you become a Buddhist practitioner, or sometimes maybe because of environmentally there are more Buddhist practitioners, then you feel, okay, I would like to become a Buddhist practitioner. So that is not enough. So Kadampa tradition, they always tell you, okay, check your motivation, see the situation, have wisdom. Through the wisdom, see which way is the suitable, which way is suitable, which practice is suitable, and check thoroughly, check carefully. Then you enter into the Buddhism or into the whatever religion. But then from there, you have to gain the certainty. Idam means the certainty or determination. You have to be very determined and move towards to practice, to complete your practice, to complete your study, complete your realization. In the practice or during the practice, of course there are some unexpected obstacles. There are some obstacles like the physical sicknesses and some mental disturbances, and there are some unwanted circumstances or unfavorable circumstances arise. This is very common. So should not be discouraged because of these. Then how, like Milarepa's life, Jawaga Tsangpa, like Naropa, Marpa, those great masters really gone through hardship their life, but never give up their practice. As a result, they have achieved the realization in their single lives. Shantideva says, I quoted from the Bodhisattva Avatara. He says here, for over countless and the vast number of eons and lives, I have been cut, stabbed, burned, and flayed alive innumerable times, but I have never awakened, which is true in the hell realm, in the human realm, any other realms that we have gone through all this suffering, but never achieved any benefit. But, he said, the suffering involved in my awakening will have a limit while you are doing practice. It is like the suffering of having a small incision while the doctor is doing operation. So, small incision made in order to remove and destroy great pain. You are so impatient with the discomfort while you are doing practice, but the funny thing is you are so patient with all these unnecessary pain and the suffering in these 6 realms. Endlessly we are cycling in these 6 realms and are going through all this, like Shantideva says, a stab, a burn, and a cut, all this. But yet still you say, oh, don't mind, I don't care. So you're still going around and around. You are so patient and you're so kind to them. But while you're doing practice, a small, uncomfortable or unfavorable circumstance comes, you complain and say that, oh, when I do meditation, I got a back pain, so can I lie down? So like that kind of, no, because I received this kind of information. Not through the YouTube or Facebook, but personally. So I can prove that. And then they say when I do meditation, I get like a chest burning sensation which disturbs me. So should I stop? Then you are expecting your expectation is yes, but they say no, continue. Then you feel bad. You would say this teacher is not so kind. So those things, so complicated. So you are very impatient. So the Shantideva says, change it. Try to be impatient with those unnecessary suffering the pain, and be patient with the suffering pain while you are doing practice. Because this suffering the pain is very limited, but others are limitless. And he continues, Shantideva, in the Bodhisattva Avatara, even doctors eliminate illness with some unpleasant medical treatment. It's true. If you have a tumor or some serious disease inside, the doctor will never say, okay, eat sweets, cakes, ice cream, then your tumor will be gone. No. They will cut, make incision, they put the tubes inside. Yeah? So a little bit up, down there. Like this, So, you see, there is some unpleasant medical treatment. So in order to overcome, that is for what? That is to overcome your pain and the suffering of the disease and the illness. And in order to overcome like this kind of limitless and the needless pain and the suffering, we need some unexpected pain and the suffering while you are doing practice. Physically discomfort, mentally a little bit disturbance, and some unexpected a lot of things that unpleasant or unfavorable situation will occur. But this is very normal. But you have to be patient. So therefore, overcome the limitless suffering. To overcome, I should be able to put up with some discomfort. And when this kind of unpleasant surgery or some unpleasant medical treatment, when the doctors perform, and you are appreciated with the doctors. So after that, you say, thank you. Thank you making a scar here. Thank you doing all these things. Because you feel and you say, because this helps me to remove my tumor, my sicknesses. The same thing. Maybe somebody irritate you or push you, pull you. You are very impatient, right? But at the same time, you should think, oh, thank you doing this because you are helping me to overcome my anger. Yeah? You are helping me to develop the patience. So therefore, the Bodhisattva Jaya Avatara keep instructing us, be patient, whatever the negative circumstances come to you, you should accept. These are all for your practice to progress. Laziness. Lelo means laziness. So laziness is the biggest obstacle to the practice. Then the nyumle. Nyumle is like you regard yourself, sometimes you feel like I'm worthless to the practice. So this is not for me because I'm not suitable to this practice. So you're discouraging yourself. So that kind of negative thoughts arise. So you should examine your own fault and your own wrongdoing, and so try to realize your weaknesses and the faults and the mistakes. Then you are able to firmly root it with your practice. Tushuk Nyingbo Tamarsa. Tushuk Nyingbo means like think of essential the morality. So you remind yourself that being so lazy then wasted life from the beginning of the time. Now this life, I have been obtained the precious human life, and I met up the great masters, and I received the profound teachings. If I fail to make useful or meaningful of my life, then what about as a result in the future? Very difficult to be obtained such precious human life. So therefore, now I should awake. I should awake. You are sort of like you are in a deep sleep. So by remembering these things, it helps you to awaken. As the Patrician says, I should take care of myself. So this means I should look after myself, not look after others. Means that every time we like spying others, yeah, and check others, but instead of that, check yourself. Check my motivation, check my mental attitude, check my behaviors. So this way you can deteriorate all these the negative actions, and you can improve and develop the qualities. So this is our study, this is our contemplation, this is our meditation. Kade shenda 통해서 시달 송로 나왔다. 통일 모습 방자신 따도 좀지 내버자. Whoever, friends, enemy, or strangers, doesn't matter. So whoever, if you've seen them, this is kind of improvement. Try to improve the behavior, the morality. So manner of the peace, the truthfulness, and honest, the loyalty is very important. It does not simply mean just show your big smile. It doesn't make sense, right? So here says that show your smiley face, and tell the truth. This means be very truthful. The truthful in your practice and be truthful with others. In order to help other sentient beings, you have to be very truthful. And you have to be very loyal. You have to be very honest. So this way, and you can help others. So the behavior or the morality is important. And on the other hand, it could be meant like the bodhicitta, the compassion, the loving kindness. If you do practice this, then because of the influence of these, from these compassion, loving kindness, and it will be very beneficial to others. They can sense and they can receive the valuable, how valuable the bodhicitta and the compassion, like Milarepa and those great masters, surrounding even the wild animals, also their mind become very peaceful, harmony, and gentle. They don't attack each other. Rather, they become so friendly to each other. Because these are the power of the compassion, loving kindness, and the truthfulness, and the honest, and the loyalty. These qualities do have such power to change their mind. Therefore, you have to show a smile. Don't show a long face. So they will be very happy. So whoever see you, so they feel very touching. Say that, oh, such a nice person. Good heart. Always smiling. Yes. I hope so. You can try. But not artificial smile. Genuine smile from the depth of your heart. That is as a result of being practiced of really the compassion and the loving kindness. Yeah. All right. So I will leave here. Good morning. Good morning. I hope you had a very nice day yesterday. Okay. Now I would like to remind you Bodhicitta. And you know how to walk with it. Take what you mean, but I'm living with you. It's a Chinese on the route of the so Dehargado, Bodhisattva, Mania, our figure. Changu Seven, the route of Tuji Chamber, Chatal, Lamana, Chatal, Tebela, Chatal, Tesson, Tanti, Ponsa, Duran, and the Jesus, Immoral, Rapon, Thousand, and Beversa, Tendan, Sishin, Fire, the Wonder Woman, Kunduson, means in Tuson Yana, and Sebi, you have Takosa. 다게 예버 다저신 신지 출고 점이자 다게 연된 버전 신지 연된 다고 예다 고대 방사신 개다다도 봉화시 근데 봐 총신 총시도 제가 진도 소와자 상가 인지 공자신 장수선의 땜바자 미기준의 방사신 다도 대바 땜바자 초당마저 성자신 멤버선의 땜바자 로베 초와 방사신 최제소의 초와자 상승탐제 방사신 파괴노지 잼바자 이도제 탐제 방사신 공반하는 내바자 차례 진동 방사신 다도만 동바자 라마 캠보 통해서 구외점도 제벌자 강사 추기 매진도 내담보에 선생님 표면도시 제벌자 선생 탐지 통해서 파마 부전도시 제 대교 정보 방자신 계획이나 임벌자 당로매기 세마신 강도대와 로와자 강나 사보 방자신 차보면 내벌자 차고의 내로만 메토진 탈외 소장 제벌자 강도대회 최종 대로다도 매벌자 통만장 강인과 당불팀이 조자대 대단한 회의 현준이가 주민요 다도 네가 가져 강도 토에 심중세 대생 맞을 짜자신 라면 담아 전벌사 준비 선내 중에서 심지선내 되버사 네가 동반이고 곰 강도 차동 요중스 유마주가 신도다 민생은 되어서 자자신도 따와서 룰은 너버 중에서 문제 내서 따와서 왜 대공과 라내신 도다 시외 로신 다게당이 바자신 차보면 내버자 다도 이당 대자신 레로 놈내 심중세 대세 다음 내장신 두신 인물 전벌사 가디신다 통해서 시달 송골 나와다 총님 무슨 방자신 다동 존재 내버자 도들어 오케이 next 진도신다 통해서 세남미지 지나가 usually when you talk about generosity the generosity is not only that you are giving some the material things, like money, or name, only this so-called the temporary favorable stuffs. To these bodhisattvas, their consideration or their concept of generosity is something that I'm giving you, which brings you the ultimate joyfulness, and brings you, so that is something helps you to get rid of all these unnecessary pain and suffering. So that is the best generosity. Sena is the miser, no? Sena. There is something like the bodhisattvas, they're giving you everything. That whatever I have no feeling of tie or longing to these. Like, let's say, my possession, and as well as my belongings, and my everything. So, because the sense of to bodhisattvas, others are more important than myself. As much as I value the things that I need, then I exchange this, and I cherish you, and I care for you, and I value your desire and your longing. So therefore, whatever I have, I'm giving you, so without the myself. As you might have heard of this generosity, has three different aspects. One that is fabricated generosity. The second is the generosity of giving protection. But these two we consider as very conventional generosity, which is not that so important compared to the last generosity, which is the generosity of the Buddha Dharma, the generosity of the teaching, and the generosity of the practice. Because if you receive the generosity of the practice, or the Buddha Dharma, or the practice, or the teaching, then other two is spontaneously you can gain the benefit. It is already there. Yeah? So therefore, the supreme generosity is giving the profound, the depth, valuable instructions.